This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning to you. First Alert Weather Day here for KSLA News 12. Welcome on to the live stream. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason. You'll see me in just a second, but we want to keep you first alert about our current radar picture here so far. This is what it looks like in the ArkLaTex as we're just starting to push a little round of some storms into Shreveport and areas around the I-20 corridor. This line is continuing to move north of Longview, and it's extending a little bit southeast of Shreveport, pretty much right along I-49 towards Natchitoches here for now. Let me stress here so far that we haven't seen any severe weather yet. This is mainly just pockets of heavy rainfall so far, but we're expecting storms to really ramp up this afternoon and this evening. Yes, that's what we're watching out here for. On the First Alert Weather Breakdown again. Thanks for joining. We're going to have all the details on the severe storms that you need to know about coming this afternoon and evening on this First Alert Weather Breakdown. All right, so I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thompson again. Thank you and welcome on, especially to those watching on Facebook as well. We've included that for the First Alert Weather Breakdown here for today. Again, I'm Meteorologist Evan Thompson. I cover the morning show and I cover this is our weather podcast, and we always use this first and foremost for severe weather whenever it comes, and it is here for the day today. We are under a KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Day. First time we've had this in months, honestly. I think the last time we had this was Halloween, I believe, which is almost 2 months ago. And we've had some good soaking rounds of rain since then. This just goes to show you that we're expecting this round of rain to be very severe, sadly. Throughout the ArkLaTex here for the day today, we have a couple of we have a couple of severe storms expected again here for later on this afternoon and evening. We're going to go over the timing later. We're going to see what exactly we're expecting with these cells coming on through. And, of course, we'll stay first alert to that Doppler radar as we continue on throughout this podcast. Yes, again, thanks for joining on. I am tracking onto your comments on YouTube and Facebook as well. So if you want to drop a comment there, I can answer it live on this podcast and on the stream. Thank you for watching this in general as well. Courtney, anyone going to come on the live? I'm here. Hello, Courtney. Yes, so anyways, if you have any questions about anything weather-wise, I can try to answer them again on Facebook and on our YouTube platform as well. That's how you do it, essentially. But for right now, we're just going to go over the weather forecast. There's a whole lot going on. I have the weather chat pulled up as well. We have a weather chat with the National Weather Service who issues all these watches and warnings. They're starting to monitor these storms very closely. Again, the current storms, thankfully, don't have any severe potential right at this very moment, which is good news. And also, just a little disclaimer. If at any time during this podcast, we'll probably be on for about 30 minutes. If at any time during this podcast, unfortunately, there is a tornado warning that goes off, unfortunately, we will have to end the stream. I will be on air on the television, and I will have to go to that and rush to get to that at that time. I'm not really expecting that in the next 30 minutes. I'm going to be honest. Again, the severe weather potential is still low here for today. We're just seeing a little bit of some heavy downpours on our current radar picture here for the moment. All right. Looking at some of your comments here coming on in before I get into the full forecast here. I will mostly answer comments after the forecast, just so you know. Just because I might answer your question while the forecast is happening. Real quick, I know. I see what you're saying. Thank you very much, Tiffany, for the muffle concern about my mic. The only reason I have to turn left is in order to look at your comments, I have to look left at that monitor over there so I can look at the comments essentially. But I'll try to make sure my voice is always going straight into the mic for you. I hope that works out. Anyways, let's get into the forecast, shall we? Let me pull up everything. As I said, I'm going to try to answer all comments and questions, especially on Facebook and YouTube. I'll go through pretty much everything and try to address everything after going through the initial forecast. Because, once again, I might answer your question during this forecast. Hope that makes sense. All right, let's get into the graphics I have. And again, if you have any questions or want me to or if you want me to show you additional graphics that I don't show you as well in this first alert weather breakdown, please feel free to do so as well. All right, so let's get into it. So first look, John Harvey Toyota Skycam. Let's go outside first of all before we get into the radar picture, before we get into the future track. I know that's the two main things that people are looking forward to the most probably on this. It is quite wet already in Bossier City. We're getting already drenched here in Shreveport and Bossier with a good cell moving through right now. Meanwhile, in Texarkana, it's about the same sight you've been seeing all morning long with these gray, gloomy, cloudy skies in throughout the ArkLaTex. Again, today is first alert weather breakdown. Today is a first alert weather day due to severe storms scattered and widespread through the ArkLaTex. Let me first of all stress that this is going to be a first alert weather day for everybody. Everyone has their own fair share of getting severe weather in the ArkLaTex. This is not just a threat that's isolated to one particular region or another. Everybody has a legitimate chance to see some severe weather potential here from these storms today. The first main thing I want to get to for this headline is the timing of these storms, which is mainly between 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's when I expect not the rain itself. Obviously, it's already raining in Shreveport and Bossier. That's when I'm expecting the severe weather potential to ramp up. I'm expecting any watches, any warnings to be issued between these hours. So these are the hours in particular where you need to stay weather aware, and we could have, again, severe thunderstorm warnings, maybe even a potential tornado warning, unfortunately, pop off as soon as 11 a.m. at the earliest. I'm calling it by around 9 p.m. at the latest tonight. So this is still going to be ongoing for a good portion of the night for the ArkLaTex. All right, so here's the severe weather risk. This is actually new to this podcast. When we last did a forecast on our KSLA news show at 9 o'clock, we mainly just had a slight risk everywhere for the ArkLaTex, but the Storm Prediction Center has added a new risk, actually. It is this brown mix, that little brown shade, I should say, of severe risk. That is an enhanced risk that was just issued by the Storm Prediction Center literally about 30 minutes ago. That includes just a southern tip of the ArkLaTex, essentially, especially for areas around Nacogdoches, where they could get just a slim chance more of severe weather around there, and greater severe weather impacts actually stretching all the way out towards the Houston metro area. Regardless, the shade of yellow, that's throughout the entire ArkLaTex. That, in my mind, still gives us a substantial chance to get any chances of severe weather here and severe weather potential throughout the day today. All right, let's go over the first alert Doppler radar a little more in detail now. This is what we currently have. Again, let me stress one more time that with the storms that we currently in our region, no severe potential yet from these storms that are in here. This is just a good soaking for now. And we've seen systems like this in weeks past. So right now we're getting the main line. It seems like there's just like one consistent line of showers continuing to move north through the ArkLaTex. It's starting to head into Mount Pleasant, heading towards Linden. It's moving past Marshall, kind of right along I-20 between Longview and Shreveport and Bossier, which is starting to get some rain showers now. And then this is pretty much extended along I-49 down towards Coshada, even some pockets of heavy rainfall along I-49 south of Shreveport. And that line goes all the way into Natchitoches as well. And keep in mind, again, this line is continuing to move northward. Lastly, with this, with the system we currently have set up now, no severe weather yet to be seen from this system. All right, so now let's get into the future track now. So this is your current picture now, where we kind of just have this stray little line of showers pushing into the ArkLaTex. As we carry on throughout the day today, things continue to progressively get worse. That is the rule of thumb here for the day today until we peak essentially in the afternoon. Watch out for these individual cells that could still have chances of severe weather, even though it's kind of tailored away from the main scattered and widespread line of rain showers. So this is going to carry on throughout the next several hours. If you're looking at 1:30, we have pretty much widespread showers everywhere around the ArkLaTex by then within the next 2 to 3 hours. Watch out for some of these discrete cells as well that are popping off kind of in front of this line. Those are the cells that have the greatest tornado threat as well, although the main line itself of rain still could still could have a chance of tornadoes. We'll get to that in just a little bit. As we carry on throughout the afternoon, up into 4 p.m., we still have widespread pockets of heavy rainfall continuing. This is not just light rain. This is heavy rainfall continuing the entire time throughout the ArkLaTex all the way up until 5. So, again, the peak of this, especially with the heavy rainfall moving through, is pretty much right around starting in the next hour or so, maybe 2, continuing all the way until 5, 6 p.m., at least for the central part of the ArkLaTex. Then, getting to around 8, 9 o'clock, there we'll start to see some clearing out across most of eastern Texas, except for areas maybe around Mount Pleasant. Shreveport will start to clear up. Meanwhile, we still have the rain in Natchitoches all the way until 8, 9 o'clock tonight, with rain showers possible, still hanging around Texarkana that late in the process as well. Once we get into the even later night hours, looks like we finally drag out the last little bit of rain by 11 midnight tonight. And then we're heading into a much, much better day here into the day for tomorrow. And that's before we get another round of rain actually on Saturday. But I'm not going to be talking about that too much because the round of Saturday isn't nearly as severe as what we're expecting here for today. All right, first weather potential that we're watching out for is, first of all, the heavy rain. That is a definite possibility for what is happening. Looking at this rainfall map, even though it says rainfall potential over the next 3 days, this is pretty much the rainfall that we are getting from today alone for the most part. Where we're pretty much seeing everybody getting an inch of rain just from today alone. There's some pockets of the ArkLaTex I would not be surprised to see getting up to 2 to 3 inches of rain, though, regardless, all around the ArkLaTex. Now, when it comes to other severe risks, we have a good chance of getting some very strong wind gusts rolling through with these storms carrying that heavy rainfall, and some of that could also tailor and spin up a little chance of tornadoes here for the day today. Now, I know a number of you have asked questions about tornado threats. Well, the greatest tornado threat, thankfully, is actually, I believe, not in the ArkLaTex. I believe it's just to the south end of the ArkLaTex into southeastern Texas and southwestern Louisiana. But we still have a very solid chance, regardless, to get tornadoes in our region anywhere as well. Let me stress that enough as it is for you here today. So, do I think there's going to be an outbreak? No, I'm not expecting an outbreak, which is good news for you. But I would be very surprised if we get by today without having a single tornado warning. I would be very shocked. So I'm honestly expecting, my expectations are a few tornado warnings, but not too many. That's my expectations as of right now. Surprise me, Mother Nature. Hopefully it's none, but we'll see. We'll keep your first alert here in the meantime. Want to go over that storm timeline here one more time. Again, rain is obviously starting to pop up now, pretty much most places of the ArkLaTex, but this is the main storm timeline for when things start to become a lot more severe in the region. The severe weather lasts until 6 o'clock, pretty much for most of eastern Texas, lasts until 7 p.m. for most of the central part of the ArkLaTex. And again, we could have storms here as late as 10 to 11 o'clock at night around areas of Natchitoches and the eastern edge of the ArkLaTex overall. Then heading your weekend, we do have another shot of rain actually coming here for your Saturday before most of that 7-day forecast is actually looking pretty dry. In fact, the Independence Bowl is actually looking pretty dry. Even though we do have rain coming on Saturday, the Independence Bowl is not until 8 p.m. Saturday night, actually. And then we'll finally start to cool down on New Year's Day, 59. I'll be looking forward to cooler temperatures later on. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a 2-minute break. I'm going to take a drink of water. Then I'm going to answer all of your questions, which I know have been piling up in Facebook and YouTube. I'm going to do that after a 2-minute break. I need to take a drink of water after that forecast. But I'm going to essentially, after a 2-minute break, 2-minute commercial break, I am literally just going to go over comments. And that's it. I'm just going to go over your comments and see what I can answer and see what more I can go over and see what we can re-go over as well. Coming up after this 2-minute break. As I said, I just need a drink of water. Then I'll be back. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to the KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, thanks for watching. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomas, and here in the Weather Center probably for the next 15 to 30 minutes with you guys here in the station, here on the podcast desk with First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, thanks for watching. I appreciate it very much. All right, let's get into those comments on Facebook. I know you've been very patient. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Oh, boy, also answered and clarified some questions with that forecast. But regardless, if I didn't, feel free to ask again, as always. Let's go over I'm going to go from latest comments, or not latest, excuse me, later comments to newest comments. For those of you, treat it as like a coffee line, essentially. Anyways, point is, I think the first couple questions came in from Courtney and Kelly, both asking about tornado concerns. Courtney was looking at the threat for Stonewall, and Kelly was looking at the threat of tornadoes in Carthage as well. So let's look at where Stonewall is, because I'm going to be honest, I don't remember where that is. That's what I thought. Okay, it's just south of town of Shreveport. So again, chance for tornadoes are expecting a chance. I'm not expecting an outbreak, not by any means. I don't think it's going to happen. By the way, while I'm talking, I'm going to let, before I finish the question, I'm going to let the graphics be in the background so you guys can still look at what's going on with the wet weather in the background. And then I'll probably play the future track in a little bit as well. If somebody, somebody might have a question for the future track as well. But regardless, I'm going to go to the future track later. This is my point. We'll play the radar while I'm answering people's questions. All right. So, anyways, tornado threat. Overall, it is greater certainly to the south of the region. That's why we have our enhanced risk that the Storm Prediction Center put in place. The enhanced risk is mainly for the Houston metro, and it goes up just into the very southern tip of the ArkLaTex, mainly around Nacogdoches. So definitely and certainly, the greatest chance for tornadoes, again, is away from here. Excuse me, just off to the southern end of the region for mainly southeastern Texas and southwestern Louisiana. But that doesn't mean we don't have a chance here. As I said, I would be shocked to see us get by today without a single tornado warning, period. But I don't foresee us seeing tornadoes here locally. Too many, I should say, or a complete outbreak of them like what we saw from Barrow, for example. I'm not expecting that for today. Somewhere in between. I'm not expecting zero, not expecting too many. Again, you just need to stay first alert with us throughout the day today. Hopefully that answers your question. I know I got people talking about the microphone. I am doing my best, as I said, to speak into the microphone while looking at the comments and questions over here. All right, so how bad is the tornado risk going to be for Bossier Parish? I think I answered that with that. If not, feel free to ask again. Please show both Stonewall and Houghton. I'm going down. Let's see. What about Marshall, Texas, Mount Pleasant? I'll go over the future track one more time while I'm looking at these. So yeah, Marshall, Texas is getting rained on right now. But again, everything currently, let me stress this again, everything currently in the region is just a good soaking. Nothing severe weather currently at this hour. We're going to give you first alert, obviously, if severe weather alerts do come in here into the ArkLaTex. Let's go over the future track one more time. So I saw questions from, let me get names, Michael and Sonia. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. About Marshall, Texas, and Mount Pleasant, respectively. So let's go over our future track. So things start to really get bad. So suppose those questions mainly for eastern Texas. Excuse me. Things really start to ramp up for both of those areas in eastern Texas, really in the next hour or two. 11 a.m. to noon. I'm especially looking for the greatest severe weather chances if we're going to have a tornado threat or something like that in the early stages of these severe storms rolling on through, which the severe weather starts to pick up, in my opinion, in the next hour or so. But thankfully not right now. We still haven't seen too much activity at the moment, which is good news. But the thing is that this severe weather activity can last all the way through 4 p.m., so to speak, before we finally start to dry up, say, Mount Pleasant and Marshall. Finally going to look to dry up, looks like around 5 p.m. tonight. But it really starts to get bad in those areas, again, within the next hour or two. So this is going to be something, unfortunately, that lasts a long time because of the size of this storm coming through, especially on the future track. I mean, by I would say by 1 p.m., we're pretty much scattered already with rain showers for the entire region. And we finally start to see our coverage drop and decrease a little bit, but that doesn't happen until 5. So that's a span of 3 hours at least where we're dealing with a complete blanket of heavy rainfall packed in the ArkLaTex, where we could be dealing with, again, severe weather during that entire time. So for Marshall Mounts, Texas, for example, you're looking at the worst of threats probably moving through from like noon until 5. All right, let's scroll down here. Courtney says, since we are getting rain before the big storm, should the intensity be lowered? That's a great question, actually. I'll go back to the radar actually right now. That's a great question, and I would actually say yes to that. The intensity could be lowered a little bit for this afternoon since some of the rain showers already are coming through already are kind of taking away that moisture a little bit, taking away a little more of the energy, so to speak. That's a great point. I will say it's only a little drop in intensity, though, because we're still expecting lots of daytime hitting, and I will say behind this initial line from Shreveport to East Texas to Natchitoches, which is moving through right now, behind this initial line, I think we might be getting some clearing out, which is bad, which means we could warm things up for cells like what you're seeing just to the west of Natchitoches. Cells like that could amplify, and that's the true supercells that we're watching out here for later today. But that's a good point, and I do think that the rain around the ArkLaTex currently that isn't severe could take away just a little bit of the moisture and a little bit of the energy that we could that will be readily available later on today. Whew, okay. All right, moving on down. Melissa, what about Benton? Well, Benton's getting rained on, looks like pretty much right now at the moment. Again, according to that future track, looks like you guys will be hanging around with most of the Benton and Shreveport alike are pretty much hanging around with the bulk of the severe weather coverage and the bulk of that scattered rain shower coverage, which hasn't again reached yet. Most of that will probably start around Shreveport, looks like around 1, and then that goes until like 6 per se. I think that's your timing for then. But severe weather itself, with these little tiny storms and this little line of cells coming through right now, some of that could be amplified and produce severe weather within the hour, could start producing severe weather within the hour. So again, stay first alert with us all the way until, unfortunately, 6 o'clock. All right. So somebody else said a good question. Since we are getting the rain before the storm, shouldn't the intensity go down? And it should, as I said. DeKalb, New Boston. I kind of went over that for Mount Pleasant a little bit. Overall, noon to 5 for you guys. I know you're just starting to get rain showers around right now, but we're watching out for and staying first alert about the scattered showers starting to come in probably the next hour or 2. All right, let's move on down. How about Blanchard? We need to get ready for the power loss we'll get. I actually think there could be legitimate power loss here for today, and most of that is not thanks to the tornado threat at all. But we have regardless if the tornadoes happen or not, we do have some strong wind gusts carrying through the entire ArkLaTex that you need to stay first alert and worry about regardless. And I think those strong wind gusts are going to be what pulls down some of those power lines and could cause a good amount of power outages. Cool. Alrighty. Actually, I'm going to turn up my mic just slightly because I know I keep turning to look at the comments over here. As I said, I'm trying to direct my voice. Hopefully it's a little bit better to get a little more volume in. Minden tornado threat. Again, everybody's in the slight risk of tornadoes. I'm expecting at least a few scattered around the ArkLaTex, but hopefully, and I'm not expecting an outbreak, thankfully. But regardless, you need to stay first alert and weather aware with that. How about Coshada? Coshada's kind of in the same range as Shreveport, where it's mostly going to be from probably maybe because Coshada's a little farther east of Shreveport. I go from 2 to 7 for the rain coverage, the bulk of the severe weather coverage, so to speak. Thanks, Terry, for the question there. The tornado ingredients looking like for Texarkana / New Boston. Now, I will say again, for those of you who are just joining us, The Storm Prediction Center, I'll go back to it, has issued... There it is. Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk of severe weather for pretty much the entire ArkLaTex. Now, just new 30 minutes ago, it issued the enhanced risk, that little brown shade that you see there on it reaching the tip of Nacogdoches here for the day today. So overall, that does tailor to greater tornado chances actually south of the ArkLaTex. The greatest tornado chances are thankfully south of here, but we still have a solid chance of tornado here regardless. I will say Texarkana is kind of on the verge between having a low to medium end chance of, honestly, a very low to low chance of tornadoes, kind of on the verge between the two. Most of the ArkLaTex is at a low chance, but definitely not zero. I'd say low to medium, actually, for most of the ArkLaTex for tornado chances. For Texarkana in particular, I'd go low. I'd pretty much go low on tornado chances. Not zero, though. Let me stress that out again here for you. It's not zero, but it's not as bad, is my point, as areas way off to your south for Texarkana, which is, I guess, a little bit better news for you. But regardless, all it takes is one. All it takes is one. All right. Again, hopefully you can hear my voice. I know a few comments said I can't hear. As I said, I'm trying to put my voice into the microphone. Cool. Kelly says I hear you great. Okay. Scrolling down. Just reading some of these comments, see what I can answer for you guys here on our Facebook feed. Again, KSLA News 12. Kaylee, could these little storms happening now over the atmosphere? Sorry, hold up. Let me reread that. Could these little storms happening now work over the atmosphere before the main event? As mentioned earlier with a comment, let me go back to the radar first of all, for those of you just joining in and for us. So we're expecting these scattered the scattered showers in right now, thankfully, don't contain much severe weather at this moment, but they could very, very soon. We just haven't seen anything yet, severe weather-wise, which is good news. We're keeping you first alert, though, in the meantime. But thankfully, yes, since this little line that stretches from, I wouldn't even say little, a big line, from Natchitoches over to Mount Pleasant right now of rain showers, thankfully, since that's moving through before the severe weather hits later on, that is taking a little bit of the moisture, taking a little bit more of the energy out of the atmosphere here for us, which is good news, better news, to take, a little more of the energy needed to potentially produce the severe weather here later on today. But I wouldn't rely on it too much, okay? Let's not be like, oh my goodness, this line of rain is happening. That means we have no more severe weather for the rest of the day. That's not happening. It's just a little bit, taking a little bit of energy out of the equation, so to speak. It's going to get bad in Gilliam today. It's going to get bad, sadly, for everybody around the ArkLaTex. This first alert weather day includes everyone. Everybody. We're talking about heavy rainfall. We're talking about strong wind gusts on top of that, blowing the wind very consistently and very urgently and very quickly around the ArkLaTex, and even the small chance of tornadoes for everyone across the region. Whew, man. All right. Courtney, is the most dangerous part of the storms the leading edge or all of it? So here's the thing about that. So let me go over the future track with that. Because for now, the main thing that we have going for us with this system in itself is the fact that it's only 11 a.m. Honestly. If this were early afternoon, then we have a lot more heating, daytime heating by the sun, actually, to help warm up the atmosphere and thus giving us a lot more of an updraft, which thunderstorms use very quickly. And what I'm trying to get at that is they use it to basically provide its strength into how much it goes. So the point is, let me go over the future track. Hold up. I'm getting over my words here a little bit. Please load. Thank you. All right, so we do have pockets of heavy rain for now, but then we start to see some of these cells really amplify once we get to around noon and 1:30. And in fact, some of the tornado threat could be with these cells that are in front of the scattered line of rain showers. So, and some of that could be amplified as we continue to get daytime heating. So while I think, yes, there's tons of severe weather that's going to be contained within the leading line itself, there's some severe weather which could be contained in these cells that you kind of see moving through in front of the main line of storms coming through the ArkLaTex here for today. I know I'm just going on kind of a consistent loop there, but I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Some of the daytime heating can help these discrete cells amplify. And so far, we haven't seen discrete cells yet, but if you go back to, say, our radar picture here, there we go. You see that little cell just to the northwest of Nacogdoches? Cells like that can really amplify and really thrive on their own thanks to daytime heating, especially way in front of the front. So as much as the front will contain tons and bulks of severe weather, in fact, we do have a flash flood warning just to the east side of Dallas. If you could look really closely at that tiny shade of green, a little green polygon that's just to the east side of Dallas there, that is a flash flood warning. We still have, again, plenty of severe weather potential impacts in the embedded line itself, but still watch out for the discrete cells, which could contain probably our biggest tornado threat, honestly, for the day today. So great question. Great question. Oh, man. All right. Thanks for what you do, Evan. Thanks, John. Thank you, John, for watching. Thank you very much, John. John's been on the First Alert Weather Breakdown, by the way. Just a quick shout-out to that. Anyways, John has a question 7 minutes ago. Is the level 3 storm warning that's just south of DeSoto Parish continue to work its way north and maybe affect DeSoto or southern Caddo Parish? John, are you talking about... Hold up. I think what you're talking about with level 3 storm warning, I think you're talking about the severe risk, the level 3 here. Do I see this potentially moving farther north? Potentially. I'll give it a potentially, although I will say not likely, because they already 30 minutes ago just put this shade of brown in. So if they wanted to add more area to the brown, I think they would have, to that brown enhanced risk, I think they would have done it on that update, especially because it happened, again, very recently. So not likely, but I will say potentially. I will give you that answer. I'll phrase it like that. All right. Tammy says it rained pretty hard in Jefferson. Thank you very much for the feedback. We appreciate weather feedbacks on weather. Come on, Barksdale bubble. Hey, Nancy. Yeah, I've heard the Barksdale bubble is pretty real, but we'll see how well it does today. Regardless, we have severe weather everywhere in the ArkLaTex. Let me go back into the radar. I realized I was talking a little bit this way. I'm sorry about that. Trying to stay talking this way into the microphone. All right. Looks like the last comment I have is from a minute ago. Stacy says, thunderstorm with lightning and heavy rain in North Fort Worth on the day after Christmas. Yes. Last thing before I'm actually going to probably end the stream and then go, because I have to get some web updates up to date, and we do have a show coming up at noon. KSLA News 12 at noon. I will have the latest details for you on this storm again then. I'm going to get some of my more resources back together and kind of get some updates on some things from some of my resources and get back with you on noon. So I'll probably end the stream in about 5 minutes. But just to answer the last question, I want you to look at what Dallas is looking at right now, because what Dallas is undergoing currently is what we're about to see later on. And not only that, you can see there is 3, if you look real closely, there looks like there are 3 flash flood warnings. That's how quickly the rainfall is falling on the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area right now. And you can see, if I click on this little thing right there, that is a flash flood warning on top of downtown Dallas until 12:30, still for the next hour and a half. So that whole core and that whole scattered line and bunch of rain showers is first of all going to be amplified and continue to be probably even more severe as we continue on throughout the day, and it gets some daytime heating and fuel essentially into that whole batch of scattered showers. Then as the day progresses and that gets more fuel, unfortunately, the direction where it's going is, again, right into the ArkLaTex. That's why, again, we're mainly staying first alert about our severe weather threat for this afternoon and evening rather than now around lunchtime, around the morning hours. I'm just saying around lunchtime, that's when our around lunchtime, that's when our severe weather risk starts to increase, when we can start to see severe weather around here. All right, that's it for Facebook comments. Let me check YouTube actually real quick. I realize I have not even checked YouTube at all. Not a single comment on YouTube, but thank you for the 52 of you watching on YouTube at one point. Also, thank you to, I believe we had as much as 200 people on our stream on Facebook as well. I appreciate it very much. Melanie, while I'm still on, I have family driving up from South Louisiana now. It is thundering in Taylor, Arkansas currently. I actually don't know where Taylor, Arkansas is, but I can only imagine you are in southwestern Arkansas watching this. Best of luck to them on the drive. I will say again, best rule of thumb, the later it gets, the worse it is, unfortunately. Until it looks like we finally end the rain showers in the central part of the ArkLaTex, most likely around 7, but that's still not for another 8 hours. Things really start to ramp up here pretty much starting now at lunchtime. And again, things just get worse leading into the early afternoon hours. Stay stay weather aware, and stay first alert with us throughout the day today. Carolyn, you're doing a great job. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Joseph, also for the shout out. I appreciate it very much. I really do. Been here for a while on the shift. Rachel says it's already raining in Webster. Yes, it is. Again, just a good soaking for now. All the severe weather comes later on today. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it quits on the stream here. Thank you very much for watching the KSLA News 12 live stream. We'll have more of these as the day progresses. Trust me. Stay with us here at KSLA News 12. The next main weather update you can watch out for will be on our KSLA News 12 show at noon. You will hear from me then. If not sooner, honestly. It could be on sooner due to a weather alert or so, but we'll see. We'll keep you first alert here in the meantime. But yes, our main next weather update, scheduled weather update, I should say, will be on our KSLA News 12 news at noon. KSLA News 12 at noon. It'll be on that show, essentially. What I'm going to do after this is I'm just going to go back and get some more resources together, see exactly what we're expecting, see what we're seeing, see what we're getting out of the skies. We have tons of weather watchers, and we're in touch with those on our little chat here that we have with the National Weather Service that controls all the watches and mornings here locally. Essentially, just going to get revamped up on information, get you guys the very latest information coming up again on our show at noon. Again, thanks for watching KSLA News 12 First Alert with a breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson. We will have an episode tomorrow, a normal episode without the severe storms going on. If you want to stay tuned in for that, or if you enjoyed listening to this, you can stick around. You can send us a topic for things to discuss. We discuss things on sunny days, days that we don't have just severe storms happening everywhere. Weather breakdown at KSLA.com, or you can message me on Facebook. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. That is my Facebook account. You can send me a topic of what you want us to discuss there. Always, as I said, we go over tons of things, weather topics, talking about ArkLaTex things. Tomorrow we'll have a forecast for the Independence Bowl. That'll be on Saturday night between the Army Black Knights and Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. Just a matter of 2 days. Speaking of that, peace out. You stay weather aware. I'll see you tomorrow for one more episode at 10:30 on your First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, thanks for watching. Be there at 10:30 tomorrow. Be square. And most importantly, especially today, be weather aware. Have a great one, and I'll see you guys again soon.